What's up guys, Brecken Edwards here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the worst addiction to have. For this guy over here, it's love. He's addicted to it. But no, so the worst addiction to have, and that many people do have but don't realize it, is comfort. Now, what I mean by that is, let's say you're always in the house, you're playing video games 24/7, or, you're doom scrolling on social media 24/7, and just like not getting out there, you're remaining in your comfort zone, Other scenarios could be like, if you have like social anxiety or something like that, and you don't take the opportunity to, make a new friend, talk to others, you don't take that initiative because you want to stay within your comfort zone. This is something that I've dealt with for a very long time now. I used to have very bad social anxiety. I still have a little bit of it. Definitely not as much. It's definitely improved. The year was 2020. I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression. And that was mostly because my parents just got a divorce. I was only 13 years old, so it hit me pretty hard, But, ever since that, I always had a problem with, being social, taking risks, and stuff like that. Because when I was a little kid, I was very social, and, like, any kid that I could find in the neighborhood, I wanted to play, Nerf guns with them, or, ride bikes together and stuff like that. Like, I was a pretty social kid. And you could call me an extrovert at that point when I was little, but it wasn't until, like I said, the divorce, which my parents announced in 2019 to us kids, but I don't think it got finalized until 2020. But ever since that, I've just been in a repeated pattern of, staying in my comfort zone. And that's not really healthy, I would, find unhealthy ways to cope, which is, locking myself in the room, playing video games, watching YouTube just 24/7, like, and not going outside, and stuff like that. It was pretty bad. And so I started to realize, later down the road, when I was about 16, 17-ish, that this was actually negatively affecting my life. So, I wanted to take action, but I didn't know how, because I felt alone, because I didn't talk to anyone. So, during this point in time, when I was 17 years old, I moved in with my dad. We moved to Hawaii, and, I talked to him, and I was like, hey, I want to get on medication for anxiety and stuff like that, because I wanted to test something out. So he was like, alright, cool. And I also told him I also want to go to therapy, and stuff like that. And he was like, alright. So we did that, and it was one of the best things I ever did. And I had a really good therapist too in Hawaii. What he would do was he would give me challenges to do. And, completing those challenges made me feel better about myself, and really made me see, what I was capable of, and how to get out of my comfort zone that I was in for such a long time. So, and it'll just be little things. It wasn't, like, the challenges weren't anything big, it's just very, very little things. Just saying hi to someone, or asking someone a question, just those little things, getting out of my comfort zone, actually speaking to other people instead of, hiding in my shell and stuff like that. So, by completing those challenges, I was becoming a more confident person, and I wasn't so socially anxious all the time. If someone came up to me randomly and, asked a question at my job that I was working at back then, I wasn't like, Like, no, I wouldn't freeze up or anything like that. I would, respond in a very confident way, be like, yeah, you can find this item over here, you know. So that was me taking action on trying to get out of my comfort zone. And I feel like not many people, tend to do that. In today's age, we're all so glued to our phones now, and we never take action on our own lives and stuff. We let the phone decide, how we think, how we feel, and that's just how, algorithms operate. But that's a whole another topic for another day. But we're not in control no more in today's society. At least not a lot of people are. So I mean, and we just have to sort of take steps to, be aware and realize that, hey, I need to take action to get out of my comfort zone and to, take control, be the leader of my own emotions, my own actions, and, improve my life on many aspects and stuff like that. Don't ever get addicted to comfort, Being uncomfortable in a positive way is a very good thing. So, let's say you are going to a party for the very first time. You're nervous to go because, you don't know anyone, or you only know very little of the people there and stuff like that. You're nervous, but you're going to go ahead and go anyways because you're going to take action of your own life, right? That's a healthy uncomfortable. A very, very good one is driving. I used to be so scared of driving. Very, very scared of driving. Very anxious about it, and I'll talk about that in another video. But was scared shitless to drive. I did not like driving. I even had a plan to live somewhere where I didn't need to drive. But no, I decided, this isn't going to be healthy in the long term, because we live, well, at least I do, I live in America, or the USA, so driving, you need to drive in order to get places. Public transportation really isn't big here unless you live in a big city, which I do not. I know. But so I decided to, hey, you know what, no, I'm going to take and dedicate my time to driving. I'm not going to listen to all these Reddit posts or these Instagram posts about, how driving is scary and, all these things, it's gonna get you, it's, driving really isn't as bad as people who are scared of driving make it out to be. So, I took my time, and my dad taught me how to drive, and I was still very scared to do that, and I failed my driver's test 4 different times. The Hawaiian driver's test is very, very strict, but I ended up passing my 5th time. And when I moved to the state that I live in now, and I started driving on my own a lot more, I became more confident. I got out of my comfort zone, of not wanting to drive, because for a little bit, when I did buy my car, I didn't want to drive because I was still kind of scared, even though I had my license. But I was like, no, I'm going to make it my mission to go to a short distance. It doesn't have to be like an hour-long drive, So I started going to little places and then driving back home, and realized, okay, I got home safely, this is good. So it wasn't until I was, I think a year or so ago, I was dating this one girl, and she lived about an hour, or no, 2 hours away, but we planned to meet up at a place that was an hour and 40 minutes away. That was a long drive to me. I was like, oh my god, dude, this is gonna be like a road trip, this is gonna be so scary, but you know what? I did it anyways. I got out of my comfort zone and took control and action for myself. So I feel like that's a very important thing. So if you guys are sitting at home and you're doom scrolling all day, or you're playing a little too much video games, or you're just not, you feel like you're not really doing anything with your life, this is a wake-up call. I encourage you to get out of your comfort zone and to pursue something you want to do, whether that's art or education or, you know, making a YouTube video or, you know, whatever it is that you like to do, I say go for it. Even if it's something small like making bracelets or, I don't know, taking a walk. Exercising is a very good one. So, you know, whatever it is you do, just pursue it. Take action. Get out of your comfort zone and you'll feel a lot better. I guarantee you that, because it's helped me a lot and I'm sure it's helped many other people a lot. You know, just putting yourself out there, just getting out there and, you know, existing, living, and experiencing, you know, that's very important, I feel like, to one's life. So anyways, that's gonna be it for today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.